Alrighty, chat. Let us begin. How does that sound? Should we get started, chat? So welcome, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to another Healthy Gamer GG stream. My name is Alok Kanoja. Just a reminder that although I am a psychiatrist, nothing we discuss on stream today is intended to be taken as medical advice. Everything we're going to talk about today is intended to be for educational and entertainment purposes only. So if y'all have a concern or question, please go see a licensed professional who can give you individual care. Okay, so this is not a substitute for medical advice. Welcome to another HG stream. Today is Wednesday. Wow, time flies, man. So happy Wednesday, everyone. So a couple of quick updates. So today we're going to be doing an interview. Not sure exactly what it's going to be about, but super excited to be doing an interview after kind of a break for a little while. I think we've gotten through most of the banked questions or topics that we wanted to sort of cover. So now we have time for interviews again. So I think we may have one today, or hopefully have one today. May have one on Friday as well, so we'll kind of see. Couple of announcements before we kind of hop in. One is, so this month on Discord, we're going to be hosting a month of meditation based on Dr. K's guide to meditation. So so I guess I've got a quote here from someone from the Discord. So I love this new idea for the bot guided meditations. Meditations I entered before didn't seem to click before, as it was uncomfortable, probably because I'm unfamiliar with Discord as well. The familiarity of a meditation I've already done, guided by the same person I've already followed, helped me with that hurdle. So it seems like some people are benefiting from it. So each week, I think that the meditations will have a particular theme. And so one of the big things that we've always emphasized here at HG and when I teach meditation is that there isn't one kind of meditation for all people. In fact, there are lots and lots and lots of techniques. Some techniques are where you're focusing your mind. Some techniques involve getting the mind to be focused through inquisitiveness. So if I were to ask someone, for example, what sound does your breath make phonetically? That sometimes is easier for some minds because they're kind of curious than telling a mind, okay, just focus on the breath. Whereas on the flip side, there may be a particular kind of mind that's like, yeah, I don't know like what sound the breath makes. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. So there are lots of different approaches to meditation. And so if y'all are interested in sort of working on your practice, developing a practice, that's a big part of what we do here at HG, and especially on the community is like we'll try to help people do those sorts of things. Okay, we do have a few groups coaching spots left, so if y'all are interested in signing up, go ahead and do so before they're kind of all gone. And good luck with all of that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and hop into the interview, and we'll see what's going on. Okay. So we're going to be interviewing someone today who's a former sex worker. And I think we're going to be understanding a little bit about how that affects her current relationships and other things. Okay. Okay, let's go. We can find out if she's a viewer. Okay. Does this work? Okay, let's do this. I'm going to have to... Wait.
I don't quite see you yet.
Yes, I see that. Oh, boy. Okay, there we go. Okay, you can see me now, right?
I can see you now, and I can hear you.
So I'm going to do this. Hold on. There we go. Okay. I'm going to just configure things. Can you count to 10 for me? I realize that no one else can see you yet.
No worries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay. I just realized I'm going to have to put on my own headphones. All right.
We're twins. It's okay.
Forgot that part. Okay. So, welcome.
Thank you. Is my video okay? Is the lag kind of...
No, I think everything seems fine for now. And it's just like a second or two here or there. I wouldn't worry too much about it.
No, I know, but, you know, when you get stuck in that one,
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
first of all, can you tell me a little bit about what you go by or how you'd like to be addressed today?
Um, I don't really go by anything in particular. You can call me Emily.
Okay.
I don't love being addressed in the third person, if that makes any sense. Like I don't love someone saying like, my name and then
Oh,
like
interesting. So,
I
so
don't know what
you
from my
don't
mom. I don't
like
know.
being referred to by. So if I say like hi, oh, like hey Jim, I'm noticing that dot. That sort
Yeah,
of.
no, that it like puts it like makes me kind of
Okay.
I don't know why, but just to give you the heads up.
No, that's very helpful. Thank you for letting me know.
Mhm.
So I guess I'll just say you.
Sure.
Okay.
Me or you can call me Emily. Like it's
Yeah.
totally fine. I'm just like, putting it out there.
Thank you very much for telling me. And so, Emily, is there something in particular that you want to talk about today, or something in particular that I can maybe help you with?
Yeah, so I mean, I would say the main reason I contacted you, I was in the adult industry or the sex work industry as I prefer to call it, for I don't know, 3 or 4 years,
Hmm.
in my 20s. And ever since then, I mean, I haven't done it for a while. Ever since then, I haven't been able to make any relationships or connections with people, and I keep kind of going back to that, to sex, money, that kind of interaction, like maybe a transactional interaction relationship.
So,
Um,
when you say going back to, can you help me understand what do you mean by going back to? Like in your head, isn't that's the reason that you're having difficulty now?
no, I say I mean, maybe going down to like, it's just the easier way for me to interact with people is to either pay them money to be around me, have them pay me money to be around, or have some sort of sexual interaction. Like the like regular just friendship, like I don't seem to be able to build those anymore.
Okay. So I'm
Does that
noticing
make
that.
sense?
Sure. Surprisingly
Okay,
so, and we'll get to that in a second.
thank you.
Um, so I'm noticing first of all that you're saying it's not just romantic relationships that are hard for you to engage in; it's also platonic relationships.
It's mostly platon. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
married.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm married. So
Oh,
I'm yeah, it's I even girls and guys. I have my little card here, my notes. I have different problems with each, but I haven't been able to sustain any kind of normal friendship probably in about 10 years.
okay. So it sounds like
And
actually on the romantic relationship front, you're doing fine.
I mean, I'm married.
I don't know how to. I mean, I know what the term means.
It's fun. Like, yeah, it's fine. Of course it's fine. It's great. I'm married. I'm still married. It's great.
Okay. So that's I'm a little bit curious about that, but maybe we can table that for now. Because something about the way that you answer the question implied, and that could just be marriage, right? Because no marriage is perfect, so there are always issues in marriage, and
Maybe.
maybe so. But it sounds like what you're really kind of interested in talking a little bit more about is friendships and the difficulty that you have forming friendships,
Yeah.
and also
Yeah.
that
True.
when you engage with someone, your mind kind of goes down this default path of feeling more comfortable if things are transactional.
Very exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It either there needs to be money exchange or there needs to be sex exchange. There need to be some sort of like I don't feel like I'm okay just showing up as me. Like I
Okay.
need to offer you something.
Okay.
And yeah.
Okay. What help me understand why you feel like you need to offer something.
Uh because I'm that's a good question. I'm good at it. Like I
Hmm?
know I can bring to the table, I can put the face on, I can put the mask on, I can put on the performance. So I never had to actually develop a real personality.
Okay.
Um, and so I'm now here in my late 30s and no personality because I can't use my old tools of being flirty or being cute or being all that kind of junk. Um,
Why
so
can't
I just get lost.
what makes you not be able to use those tools? I'm not saying that you should, but I'm just wondering what
Just
gets in the way.
because it goes too far if I do.
I see.
Um, yeah, and because like that's part of my sort of like self-help thing is like now that I'm married, I want to stop doing that because that was always my default, right? I would flirt with you, I would make you feel cute, I would be cute, and like it would be so easy. And like now I'm trying to form actual platonic friendships, and it always like just devolves into some like stupid sex thing, and I don't know how to. I don't know what the middle ground is there.
That sounds. I'm just now really appreciating how painful that is.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, it sucks. It does. It sucks.
So maybe we can better understand this process that you say devolves into. Because what I'm sort of hearing is that you start out kind of intentionally and then like you kind of get off the rails and then there's like you kind of board. It's like one of
That's
those,
exact.
yeah. And then there's a
That's
shift
exactly what
and
it
then
is.
you're on this
That's
different railroad
exactly.
track.
You get on the other train, and then
Y-
once you're there, you
Yeah.
can't you can't get off. Like, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, yeah, like I find it easy to make friendships with men
Okay.
because in my mind, men are simple and easy to me. I understand them. Um, and then, like you said, at some point, like it goes to like I flirt, I wink, I drink too much, I do a little flirty thing or whatever, and I end up in a space that I shouldn't be in with them, and I can never speak to them again. Like I can never talk to them again now, right? Because I fucked up,
Okay.
right? I yeah, I fucked up,
O-
right? So now I need to go find a new friend, and then the cycle repeats.
Okay. Can I think for a second?
Oh, please do. Yeah, I'm flattered that you said that.
Hold on. So, Emily, I think we can help you. I think there's a way out of this. I'm feeling hopeful.
I I that would be amazing.
Okay. The other thing is, I don't know honestly that this has anything to do with. I mean, I guess maybe it has something to do with sex work, but I think it may be in a sense not as related to that as people may think or you may think. So,
Part of me wonders if the sex work actually came from that rather than vice versa.
oh
Like, because I'm
yes,
really good at that, I was like, "That's my job,"
oh
you know?
yes, oh yes.
Yeah.
I think we may get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we agree on that. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Cool.
I don't know. I mean, if you say so, then I'm going to defer to you. But
That is my perspective, or that's my idea, I guess.
yeah.
But no, this wasn't a problem until I stopped the work and tried to re-enter society. And then I was just like, "Oh my God."
Okay. Um, so just a couple of quick reminders, right? I'm going to ask you some questions. Anything that you feel uncomfortable answering or don't want to answer, just like please let me know. If I notice you getting visibly uncomfortable, I may point it out to you. So, but I'm gonna start asking a couple questions. Okay, is that all right?
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Okay. So, tell me a little bit. You mentioned that you have different kinds of struggles with men versus women, and you talked a little bit about men. Can you tell me a little bit about your experiences with women?
Oh, with women. Shit. Uh, I don't know if I've ever really had a friendship with a woman that's lasted longer than about 6 months.
Okay.
Um, and unfortunately, what ends up happening is I've gotten ghosted quite a bit by women that I thought were friends of mine, and so there's a bit of an unknown there because
Mm-hmm.
I've sort of not confronted them, but like asked them 6 months later, like, "Where did you go?" And they're like, "Oh, I just got busy," and I'm like, "That doesn't seem right." But yeah, so what I'm with when I hang out with women, it devolves into alcohol, sex, men.
What is that? Okay, help me understand what that means.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
No, I mean,
devolves
it's,
into means what exactly? Like, so that means the two of you start drinking?
yeah. Like, so
Okay.
I drink to deal with social anxiety.
Okay.
Um, like when I go out, I drink. So if I'm going out with a girlfriend, we're getting together at a bar, we're getting drinks, and then I I go to what I know. I
Okay.
go it's this I mean, yeah, I
And
like I don't want to say we just like pick out guys in the crowd to just like, but we kind of do.
so,
Like
so you pick out guys to kind of what?
interact with, have attention from, and give attention to.
Okay. So y'all are kind of on the prowl, on the
Oh,
hunt.
very good. Yes, that's the term.
Okay.
Yes. Just as like a fun, like
Yeah.
as a game though. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sort of get what you mean. It's sort of like, I mean, I think even as men, we do this, right? We go out and
Oh,
we're
men
on
do
the
this
hunt,
way more than women.
right? So like
Yeah.
when we go out, there's sort of this subtext of, you know, oh, who's cute? Do you think she's single? Is she into me? What are my chances? Oh, you should go talk to her. So there's almost this like camaraderie when you're kind of hunting together. And I'm hearing from you almost that, and I may be reading a little bit too much into this. You're not actually that interested in the men. It's really more about this is the way that, or maybe that's wrong, but this is the way that you form a platonic relationship with a woman.
That's it. This is my connection to them. This is the thing we have in common because
Yeah.
I don't know that there's anything else I have in common with any woman. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna, make a couple statements. Let me know if they resonate with you or not. But so what I'm sort of getting is that, first of all, you know how to be flirtatious, you know how to be cute, and you know how to kind of engage with men in particular way, as you put it. They're kind of simple, right? So I know some people may find offense to that statement. I don't think that that's really relevant right now. I think it's just our mind.
They're not simple, my perception. It's just
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
perception. It's
So I
not
think let's take
a
your
reflection
mind
of
at face value and be non-judgmental about it, and then we don't want to make moralistic judgments about that statement. That's just the way that your mind thinks, right? And so we have to understand why that is. And so the interesting thing there is that if you're good at that and you want someone to be friends with you, I can sort of see that like you'll go there because that's where you're kind of an expert, right? And
yeah.
so if you're playing
It's
wing
super easy.
if you're playing wing woman, if you're kind of in your element, then you sort of showcase off the most value to your female friends. What do you think about that?
Yes. 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 And even I mean that and then some.
Tell me.
Because I mean, and you said showing off my value to my female friends. I mean, I know there have been times where I have interacted with guys and then they've hooked up with her and I've uh thing, fuck. Um
So this may be one of
yes,
those boundaries that we were hitting up against. Yeah,
that might be a weird thing to just I don't know.
sure.
But yes, and then some. Like I very much use my sexuality to show my value regardless of with whether it's men or with women.
Okay. Um, I need another second to think.
Oh, go for it.
I'm trying to figure out how I can collect as much information from what you say without asking you questions that'll push into undesirable territories. And I'm
I
not
mean,
saying that
ask
to make you.
away.
I appreciate you saying that. Let me just think for a second. Okay. So can you tell me, or is it okay if I ask you a couple of questions about your process of getting married. We don't need to go into a lot of details of who you're married to or, anything like that. Like, so
That's
feel,
fine.
but I'm just because it is such a central relationship. And frankly, I just sort of come into this. I realized I had a bias, which is I was assuming that the kinds of relationships you would have problems with would be more romantic in nature. But it seems like you're married and it's a relatively good marriage.
Yes.
So what I'm kind of curious about is as a relationship that you have been able to form, I think maybe we can use that to understand a little bit about like what's working well and how we got there, and maybe form a roadmap of something. I'm not sure. Is that fair?
All right. That's fair.
So can you tell me a little bit about when you met the person that you got married to and what y'all's initial interactions were like?
Yeah, so I met him when I went with a girlfriend of mine to a wedding, and he was just there, and I pursued him until he, couldn't say no.
Wow. Okay.
I yeah, what was the rest of the question?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that was great. That was.
Yeah.
I'll ask more. So tell me, what does pursuing him mean?
Uh, I added him on Facebook and messaged him. I mean, I just was like, "Hey, bro, like, I couldn't help but meet you, like." And then I, would send him like pseudo sexual things, like not like, I wouldn't just like start out with the nudes or anything, but like little articles, little things, this and there, like that were sort of leading.
Okay. Can back up for a second. How did you decide on him at the wedding?
Well, that's a good. I just I just saw him. I saw him and I felt some weird thing inside me.
Okay. Tell me about
I mean,
what do you think?
I
Have
really
you,
can't. I don't know if I can give any more detail because I mean, no, I don't know. I just saw him and he just was so nice, kind, and gentle from what I perceived, and he is. Yeah, no, it wasn't anything concrete. It was just
is a
this
feeling.
feeling. Yeah.
Is that a
And this
feeling?
was around the time I started doing the sex work as well.
Interesting.
Um,
So how old were you at the time?
Mid 20s,
Okay.
maybe late, mid to late, whatever.
Okay. So mid 20s, and then is that a sensation that you've had before?
No,
Is it a sensation that you've had since?
no.
So something just like there was some kind of internal feeling that seemed pretty strong. And would you say that so you talk about being skilled, right?
Yeah.
Were you skilled at that point?
Oh, yeah.
How long have
I
you been
mean,
skilled?
oh, always.
Since you were a
Oh,
kid?
God. I mean, yes.
Okay.
Um, no, well, since I, like, whatever, when they call it, like, when you go from, like, a kid to an adult, you, like,
Yeah. Puberty,
whatever
adolescence.
that, whatever, like, 15 years old. Basically, from 15, I've been on this kind of plane of, I love men. I love men.
Tell me
Love
about
them.
that.
I don't think men get a lot of love in their lives, and I just genuinely, purely love them. I think. I hope. Um, and I mean that I think was part of what made me kind of good at my sex work job is like I was really more of an intimacy person than like a sex person. Um, but yeah, I mean, men have always been uh, something special to me. I don't know what that word is. I don't know why, like, a hello from a man is more important than a hello from a woman.
Hmm.
I wish I could tell you. I don't know. But it's always been that way.
Okay, gonna need another second.
Oh, yeah.
Do you follow any particular branch of like spirituality or religion?
I have experience. I've was raised evangelical Christian. I have been in 12 step in various times. I have practiced Islam for very short amounts of time, and Stoicism, and I meditate regularly. So, yeah,
Wow. So you've really explored quite a bit.
dude, I'm fucking trying.
I see
Like,
that.
I can cuss, right?
Yeah, sure.
Is okay, yeah. I'm fucking like I'm so sick of this shit. Like,
What do you, now we're
I'm so
getting
done. Like,
real. What do you,
I'm in my mid fucking 30s or late 30s, whatever I am. And I mean, I'm friends with my husband. I'm friends with my dog. I'm friends with my kid. But like, why can't I make and maintain a friendship without making it weird? Without randomly having sex or randomly being like trying to pimp someone out for no reason? And like, why do I have to make it sexual and weird all the time?
well, I mean, I think it's because that's a game you know how to play.
Mhm. How do I learn the new one? Or what is the new one?
I think we're gonna I think we're gonna make some headway into this.
Okay.
When you say you're sick of this shit, what does that mean? What makes you the most exhausted? Like, like what is it that you've been fucking trying for like a decade or more, and you're just like,
To have
I
to
should have
have
figured it out by now.
an actual friend, you
What is
know?
it like to not have an actual friend?
Uh, my sarcastic answer is that you put yourself on stream and out yourself as a sex worker to be able to talk to someone that you admire. My non-sarcastic answer is it just it's fucking lame, man. Like it's 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 dumb. Like I have no one to talk to. You know, like you can only post so many questions on Reddit to like get feedback. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I'm at that point where like people don't make new friends, I guess
Yeah.
at my age, right? Like
Well,
so and then even when I do find someone where I'm like, "Oh, maybe this will like become something," I get weird. Like I maybe I'm too critical of myself, but I do something that makes me so cringe that I might even kind of ghost them, um, or they
okay.
ghost me.
Yep. So tell me tell me a little bit about what happens in your, like, can you give me an example of like a relationship where,
Mm.
give me like tell me a
Yeah.
story
Okay.
about a potential
Sure.
relationship of yours.
Yes. Okay. So there was a girl, very nice young lady around about my age. I had met her in like a 12-step group, something like that. And we started hanging out. And she was looking for work, so I said, "Okay, I'll pay you to help me like clean my house or like organize my house," you know? And without realizing it, I introduced that kind of relationship into it. So that was going okay. But then I would like take her out for dinner, after all of it, like I would pay her to be at my house and then I would like take her out to dinner and like pay for that and like, you know, let's go get our eyebrows done. It's going to be $70 at Anastasia or whatever. Like I'll pay for it. Don't worry. Like just overcompensating, you know? And not that I don't know for sure if that's why she just went dark on me. I honestly have no idea. But she just went dark. But it's something in hindsight where I'm like, that's weird. Like that's not something I did early in my 20s, you know? Like that's a new behavior.
Yeah. So I'm almost getting the sense that on the one hand, like you want to be friendly and generous and oh, like she's like looking for work and like I can help her out, right? Because I care about this person as a friend. And so it's sort of like a win-win. So I can like, I can help out a friend and I can get some cleaning done and I can pay her a little bit. And so then it's like, but afterwards it's like, oh, like we're friends, right? So like she's cleaning for a little while and then like I'll take you out to dinner. I know that you're kind of strapped for money right now, so like I can pay, right? And then
But how does that make her feel? That probably makes her feel weird. And I don't know.
how do you
Thinking
think it
about
makes
it
her
in
feel?
retrospect, I think I mean, can you imagine having a friend at your house, cleaning your house? That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like,
What's weird about it?
but it's the only way I knew how to interact with her. What's weird about it, you said?
Yeah.
Is it should, uh, that's a good question. Friendships and transactions, I guess, should be separate, in my opinion.
Yep.
I don't know. Or
So
no, that's my moral judgment. I actually don't know if that's the case.
no, I mean, I would agree with
Yeah.
that. I think there's some boundary issues there, right? So then it gets confusing. What is this? So here's something I'm going to toss out. I've never said this before. I don't really know what it means. I'm almost getting the sense that you take all the comfort in the relationship and you leave the other person with all of the confusion and discomfort.
Oh, that. Okay, you're gonna have to. I don't.
I don't know
You're
what it
gonna
means
tell me
either.
more.
But I'm sort of
I
noticing
take.
that like with each of these movements that you make, you feel better making each of these movements. So like let me just give you an example. So, let's say like we start here and then they're like, "Oh, my friend needs help." And then you're like, "Okay, like let me give them work if they need money." So in that moment like you've done something good. You feel good about it. You've helped out a friend. You've done something good, right?
But I haven't considered what they actually need.
Exactly. So like you've done something where you go home at night and you're like, look at how like this is what friends do for each other. But like when you become more comfortable that way, it's like it's kind of weird for them. And then they come over and then like they're cleaning your house and they're your friend. And so you're like, this feels fucking weird. Let me make up for it. Let me take you out to dinner. And so then what happens is like you were feeling weird and then you like take him out to dinner. You're like, okay, I was a good friend. And they're broke. So
Now
like,
I feel even more weird. Yeah.
right? And so that like you feel kind of better in that moment. And then they're like, this is weird.
But it so reflects my working relationships that that's where it comes back to with me, is that I was the person being paid for so long, and I don't know how else to express love and intimacy and appreciation.
Respectfully, I'm going to disagree with that statement. And I
Wait,
know that
say
sounds
it again.
weird.
Start
So-
your sentence. I think
So,
you
sorry,
blocked out.
I said respectfully, I'm going to disagree with that statement.
Go on.
So you say that you don't know how to express. I don't know that it's you don't know how to express. What I'm getting the sense of is that you can't tolerate a certain amount of uncertainty.
That's yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
you know what, in a sense, what you should do, or that, yeah, I mean, maybe that. No,
I don't think I
no.
do though.
No, I see. I'm going to take back my statement because I think the issue here is that I don't think the problem, how to say this, what I'm sort of getting is that you need to express it concretely in the first place. And you don't know how to express it concretely in the first place. But the key thing about friendship is that a lot of that is not non-concrete expression. It's like what you're comfortable with is like non-concrete expression. Uncomfortable.
What I'm comfortable with is concrete expression.
Yes. Yeah, sorry.
I'm
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
And so
yes,
you
you're
need
right.
some way, right? So like when your friend says, I ain't got no money.
I send money. You
Yep.
know how many fucking people I've sent money to?
Yeah, so that's where like I don't think you can tolerate, wow, that must be hard for you.
Yeah.
Like how
Well,
does it
if someone's having a hard time and I'm in a position to help, that's my job. That's yeah, I
Okay.
want to be the person that helps when
yes.
they can.
What is it like to not help?
It's oh god, I don't like it. I don't like seeing people in pain. I don't like, when especially because these days with income inequality, like there it's either you're at the bottom or you're at the top, kind of. Um, I don't like seeing people I know and I love suffering with things that can just be solved with a few dollars. I don't like that money is such it's just such it's ruining people's lives, and I want to act on my beliefs, that we should all share. Like, I'm like a little mini communist over like not literally, but like, like that's what I truly believe. And so I think I should act on it. And if I can just be my beliefs, then that's good. But I just never end up with any friends at the end of the day. I end
Okay.
up with a lot of helped people, which is
Sure.
that's great, you
So,
know?
Emily, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do you avoid people who don't need your help?
I don't quite know what to do with them. I wouldn't say I avoid, but yeah, I don't have intimate friendships, relationships with people that are healthy and full, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. Because I
Yeah.
think you said it beautifully. I don't know what to do with them. You're not supposed to do anything with them. That's what I think is
Yeah.
confusing to you,
Yeah.
right?
I
Because
don't I have nothing to give them. They have nothing to give me. We're just two people. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
that's
I
friendship.
don't know what that is. Yeah, what the fuck? Like what?
Yes. So here's,
There's my brick wall. What
yep.
the fuck is that?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. So, yeah, I think I don't know how much of this has to do with the sex work, TBH, and I think I'm more into what you were saying earlier, that I think the sex work may be an outgrowth of this as opposed to the other way around, but who knows? We haven't really talked about it. So here's the thing that I just want to kind of toss out. Okay, so like I'm with you in terms of trying to make the world a better place and helping other human beings and all that crap, something I understand
Sure.
a little bit of. But there's something that one of my teachers once told me, which was that, charity. So I try not to be charitable. And I know that sounds kind of weird. But
Go on.
here's sort of what I came to the realization of. Charity also implies like a power dynamic. There's
Oh,
like the giver and the receiver, and there's
oh,
a lack
fuck
of
yeah.
like mutual respect in a charitable transaction. Right? There's like
It's also my way
benevolence.
of showing power over people.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
I don't know if you show, I mean, that's interesting that you said that, because that's sort of what I'm implying, is that I think that what you're doing is you're creating like this situation where like you're the giver and they're the receiver, and then you guys aren't on the same footing. And then once you're not on the same footing, there's a lack of reciprocity, and a friendship is like a reciprocal relationship.
Okay.
Right. So
I
I
don't
think,
know what a friendship is,
yeah.
honestly.
So
Like
that
when
we're
you
going
say
to,
reciprocal relates, like I don't know what it. I don't know.
yeah, so
Yeah.
we'll get to that in a second, but I think we're going to have to define some of those things for you. But like, so I'm going to ask you, do people that you meet do things for you?
No, no, not really.
Yeah.
No.
Why do you think that is?
Because I don't demand it. Um,
Do they demand it? Do they say, give me money, Emily? Well, maybe sometimes they do.
no, that would be horrible. No, they don't. No one has ever. Why don't they do these things for me? Because they're just normal humans. I don't know. I have no idea. I
Okay,
don't know.
good. So we're going to understand this. So there's a difference between demanding and signaling. Do you signal to them that you need something?
I can do that. I know how to do that. That's usually with men with whom I have a sexual relationship with
Okay.
only.
Yep.
Um, yeah.
But what
So
about other people?
no, I don't need anything from. Yeah. Okay. There we go. I don't need anything from my friends. I really don't. I mean, I just need them to be there. I just need them to be alive and human and
No, I think you need something
my
from them.
friends. I don't know what that is.
I think you need friendship. You need companionship. You need not, you know, when you say you're sick and tired of this shit, there's something missing there, right?
Yeah.
That's what you need. Whatever that is what you need from them. Like, I get the sense you're incredibly isolated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I may be jumping to conclusions here. It sounds like you've got a pretty good marriage, but I also get the sense that, like, there may be a certain amount of, like, you're pulling the strings there.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So
I mean, yeah. I mean, even from the beginning, like I said, I saw him and I pursued, like, he's like 20 years my senior. Like, it's, yeah, I always pull the strings. I cannot be string pulled. Holy shit, Dr. K, you're really good at this. Okay.
What did you just realize?
I just realized that I always pull I always have to have the upper, like, in one way or another, whether that be sexually, financially, any way. I need to have the upper hand. I need to be in control. I cannot be I cannot be, yeah, I need to be the one in control. I can't think of the word or the phrase, but
I'll help you in a second, but just keep going.
yeah.
So let me ask you something.
So,
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't have anything. I think that's just it. And then, like, I think that's, like, defines, but see, it's like, that's so fucking academic. Like, okay, so I'm an academic, so I have a master's in psychology. So, you know,
Of course.
yeah, right. I mean, right. So, like, yeah, it's like the academic explanation that, like, explains everything, but, like, so the fuck what?
Yeah,
Like, what now?
Yeah, so let's start by understanding that there's a difference between understanding it intellectually and realizing it.
Doing something about it.
Doing something about it is going to come after realizing it.
Oh shit, okay.
Okay. So, like, there's, like, information, like, I could write a paper about Emily and I could write everything out and you could read it and you're like, oh yeah, this fits me, but it's not going to change anything. Because I think the real question, now the question becomes, what happens to you if you're not in control?
Yeah. That's a good question.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, my mind goes to the last time I wasn't in control and things are bad.
Yep.
You know, things are, if I'm at the mercy of, that's the phrase I was thinking of before, at the mercy of someone else, whether a friend or a partner, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's not good.
Yeah. So your mind is like, fuck that. I am never going to be there ever again.
I bought my own fucking house for myself and my husband. I have taken this to, like, an extreme. Like, I won't let anyone do anything for me at all.
Yes.
I can't let anything be dependent on another person. It all has to just be on me, and, like, money. And money is just a very concrete way to, like, get to that control.
So let me ask you something, Emily.
I found a job that made me a lot of money. Yeah.
Who's in control of this conversation?
Me. Who do you think is in control of this conversation? Dr. K.
So let me ask you something. So
no, you didn't answer my question.
Beautiful.
Give me one. Give me one.
I'm going to give you an answer. So that question right there is an exercise in control of this conversation.
Yeah, I know.
Right? So, like, most of the time you don't you haven't challenged me like that. And then when I try to dodge the question, you're like, fuck that. He's slipping away. I'm not going to let him slip.
I got him. Well, that's the thing.
No. You have to answer, Dr. K. I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. You see what you did there?
Oh, yeah. I called myself on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I need to point out that I called myself on it. Like,
so now, Emily,
it's endless with me.
You and I are going to share something. Okay.
Okay.
Now we have the shared burden of trying to figure out where everything that we've talked about so far, were you okay with this? Or like, is this like where you meant to go or where you meant to lead us? Or is that like...
Oh God, no, this is nothing on my card.
Okay.
No. So fuck me. Look, okay. Yeah.
So to answer your question more concretely, the only way that I'm going to get in control of this conversation is if you perceive that you are in control.
Oh, well.
And so by directly addressing the issue, by acknowledging that, hey, maybe you're not in control, you're like, yeah, I am, bitch.
But like, that's just such like a answer to every question. It's like, well, I'm in control by making you feel like, couldn't I say the same to you?
Yes,
Like,
yes, because
it's like a meaningless statement, isn't it?
Yes, we're good at this. No, we both do this.
Okay, yeah,
You've just met your match. That's all.
I love this. Okay, fuck yeah.
Right? So,
I love this.
So
this
how do you
great.
feel right now?
I feel fucking energized. And I like that. I love that you pushed up against me. Like, I'm so used to just walking all over people. And you just were like, no, bitch, I have a mirror for you. Like, you're not as great as you think you, like, relax, you know? And like, you're right. And I fucking hate that. So, but this is why I wanted to. This is why.
Yeah, right. So now the real challenge here, and this is where things get super complicated, because this relationship from a boundary perspective is that we're not friends, right? So what I'm.
But you feel like my friend in this moment, which is really a mind fuck.
Yeah. So that's because you asked me a question. How do I make friends? And what I'm trying to do is model for you.
That's not fair to just model for me how I make friends, but tell me we're not actually friends.
No, because I mean, I feel that, yeah, I don't mean to hurt you there, but I think it's like, yeah, maybe I'm messing up. Hold on, let me think for a second.
Oh, I mean, there's no one right way.
You don't have to protect me. It's okay. Let me just think.
Oh, Dr. K.
Okay, so what I mean to say, Emily, is that I think that like it's mutual respect that leads to friendship, right? So I feel like I could be your friend. Like I respect whatever's going on up here in you, right? Like I think you're an interesting person. I think you have struggles. I think you're isolated. I think you have a very high EQ. I respect a lot about you, and I kind of like acknowledge that you're awesome in particular ways. And I enjoy that kind of conversation. That meta level exchange is something that I truly love too. It's sort of like playing this chess game, right? And like, it's very fun and gratifying. But I think there's an element of that where there's a reciprocity, because it's not, you know, and the reason that I maybe was a little bit harsh when I said like we can't kind of be friends is because what I'm noticing
I didn't think that was harsh. I think that's true, and I appreciate you saying it. I was kind of joking back in a way,
cool.
But please continue.
So I think the challenge here is that I think what you tend to do is pull people into muddy relationships, and so that's where like it's going to be tricky, because I think there's also like some amount of, first of all, I mean, so now I'm going to just start talking, okay? So at the beginning, there's control. And I think, you know, I didn't ask you what was bad, but when you've lost control in the past and things like that, you know, if you're comfortable answering some of those questions, we can try to illustrate that a little bit. But what I'm kind of noticing is that, like, you know, like you kind of picked your husband and you're like, you know, let's go. Which doesn't mean that there isn't genuine love there. I think that we tend to look at these things as kind of black and white. And I think there can absolutely be genuine love, genuine, like reciprocal, mutual relationship. But there's also this level of like, you're not going to kind of like let your guard down. And I'm sure you let your guard down in ways that there are still guards at the top of the gatehouse that are opening and closing the drawbridge. So like, you're never going to give anyone, like you'll open up the drawbridge, or you'll put down the drawbridge and open up the gate, and you'll let people in. But that's also like you letting them in, right? It's like you're still got your hand on the lever.
Still me, yeah.
So what I'm noticing is that no one ever gets a key and like ease of access when they want to come and go. And then that sort of...
Do people do that with other people though?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So like there are people in your life who could hurt you, and they just have an open door to your life or your yourself.
Are you asking me personally, or are you asking you as in general?
I'm asking as a theoretical question.
As a theoretical question, yes.
Or you, yes.
Me personally, I'm more like you. So that's very difficult. So there have been a handful of people that I've done that with in my life, but they're very few and far between. I have a lot of difficulty.
You understand where I'm coming from.
I completely understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
So the difference is that I think when I was younger and less well-formed, I met someone who was like something like a guru to me. And the problem was that like I didn't have to give them a key. They just like, they knew how to pick locks. And so they kind of were like...
That's such a good phrase. I love that.
They would just come and go as they please. And I was like... And then I sort of realized that like, even though they're like coming and going, what they're doing is helping me put my house in order. And like, it wasn't like a threatening thing. And then I was like, oh, that's like really cool.
I feel like a lock picker myself in that, like what you just described. Like, I mean, oh man. Okay. So, okay. I'm open to the idea of like allowing someone a key, but it just still seems crazy to me.
Yeah. I think so that's where, you know, so if you're okay with it, I'm going to ask you a little bit about your upbringing and like, sure. So can you tell me a little bit about what growing up was like for you?
Yeah. I'm an only child with two older parents. I wasn't born until my parents were in their 40s, and I'm the only kid. I was tested into highly, highly gifted at about fucking kindergarten or some shit.
Okay.
And have hated school ever since.
Okay.
I dropped out at 16, had a child, went to college.
Did you say you dropped out at 16 and had a child?
Yes. So I had a child at 16. What one therapist actually told me very eloquently, I ended my childhood early because I didn't want to deal with those people, my parents. And so I started going to college at 16. And just, I mean, you know how it goes, like you can go to college and like still be underage or whatever. Yeah. And I got married about 5 years ago, and I had a lot of shitty relationships between then and marriage.
Can you tell me a little bit about, do you still have a relationship with the child?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I moved away a few years ago. I don't remember. But yeah, no, I do. They are just, they got all my intelligence, and none of my neuroses somehow. So yeah.
It sounds like she had a good mom.
Yeah. That is the one thing I'm actually think I'm really good at.
Tell me about that.
I raised her. I was an excellent, or I am. I guess she just turned 18, actually. Cut that out. I'm a really good mom. Like, I'm a really good mother.
What makes you a good mother?
Because I can put myself in her position. I can empathize, like truly Like, what did I need when I was her age and I was feeling this thing?
Hmm.
What did I need from my mother that I didn't get? Right? And then I do that, and it works. And I mean, we've never had a I've never raised, I don't know if I've ever even raised my voice to this girl, and she's getting into college going to all these colleges. She's just, I don't know where she came from, but I'd like to think it's me. Um, but yeah. So
You sound
that's
you sound really proud of yourself and proud of her.
yeah, I'm that is like my one shining star of myself. Of like, I know that like her dad was more involved as she got older because he matured. We were both very young when she was
Sure.
born. And being a woman, being the girl, I kind of took the parental role. But yeah, I that is my best achievement. That's the only like that's it.
Does
You know,
she?
and, and I want to have more kids, but I can't. So
You said you want to have more kids, but you can't. Okay.
mhm.
Do you mind if I ask why not?
Yeah, well, my husband got a vasectomy from in his first marriage.
I see. Okay.
Unfortunate, yeah. So it's not a thing for us. But I want to foster, but that's that's a completely different thing.
What is it? So, can you tell me a little bit about what your relationship with your daughter is like now?
Mm, yeah, I mean, so she is going, moving on. I want to not age her on like the internet, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So,
Yeah,
anything? I'm more. We don't have to go into details about her. I'm just a little
gotcha.
bit curious about. Well, I'll be a little bit more explicit. So, do you think that this relationship has? Let me think about how to ask this without giving up any. So, as children grow, they tend to be the power dynamic between children and parents, generally speaking, in healthy relationships, evens out. So,
Yes.
what I'm kind of curious about in particular is that happening in your relationship? And what happens when she challenges your authority?
Yeah, it
Or has she
absolutely has
learned
evened
to
out.
not
She does
challenge it?
not.
Challenge.
We've never had, I mean, I don't think we've ever had conflict, which I know sounds so bizarre, but I cannot think of,
Oh, we're lagging. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Is it me?
yeah, you're lagging too.
Okay, I was lagging. Okay, sorry. Oh no, that was me. I think we're back.
No worries, no worries.
So you're saying you've never genuinely had conflict?
No. Because I respect her as a person, and I think in turn she respects me. I think that's why. I don't know. Um, yeah, no, it's honestly, that's the best relationship I have.
Yeah. So I'm going to just toss this out there. I'm not really getting this vibe, but sometimes so there are multiple reasons why you can have no conflict with your daughter, right? One is that there is, genuinely speaking, a mutual respect, and you kind of like, when she says she wants to do something, you respect her choices. The other option is that she has just learned that she's not going to win in any conflict, so no conflict, she never tries.
The first one. It's not, no, no,
Okay.
it's not like that. I mean, she can honestly ask me to do anything that she wants, and she knows that if it's a reasonable request, it will absolutely be granted.
Okay. I didn't
And
mean
yeah,
to. I was just, I'm not saying we don't know details, but
no, I understand.
okay. So that's interesting. And can you tell me a little bit about what your relationship with your husband is like?
Fine. I
Okay.
don't. I mean, can you ask a little more specific
Yeah. So,
or
like, once again, in
explicit?
terms of like power dynamics and things like that, and
Fine.
also, it
Neutral.
just occurred to me. So since you have a daughter who uses the internet, should we be careful about this interview because this is on the internet?
It's fine. She's
Okay.
not on Twitch, and if she was, I would lay down the law.
Okay. Okay.
We have very few rules in our house, and one of them is no social media.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
And then, so actually, can you tell me a little bit? You mentioned that your parents were older. What was your relationship with them like growing up?
Bad. My mom was bad. My parents unfortunately hate themselves. My mom has very low self-esteem, and the way that it was bad. The whole gifted kid, putting me in these classes, putting me in these programs, it was bad. Like yeah, it was bad. You're gonna need to ask me more specific to get.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it okay if I do that? Because when someone
Oh,
says
please,
bad, I don't know if that
please.
means I don't want to talk about it or.
No, I
So,
do. I do want to talk
so
about
like,
it. It's not abusive. It's just confusing.
yeah. So what was it like when you were put into these classes? Like, how did your parents respond when they
It
found out you
wasn't
were gifted?
up. It was never up to me. And like, you can either be average in a gifted class or you can be gifted in an average class,
Beautifully put.
right?
Oh my God. Brilliant.
Thank you. So I was being put in the gifted class to be average, and I was like, I want to be in the regular kids class so I can be smart. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is it? Like, it was just, even from elementary school, it struck me as just a load of bull. Like, why are you giving me 50 questions for homework when the regular kid gets 30 questions? And like, what the fuck? That's not really, it has to do with
So what, I mean, so
it doesn't,
I
it doesn't.
assume you protested in some way with your parents.
Yeah.
And
I
what
protested, and no, my dad didn't acknowledge me, or didn't care, or he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to do. He was an old man. He didn't know what to do with me.
when you say he
My
didn't acknowledge
mom,
you, like what did that look like in the household? He would like literally ignore you, or he would.
he had an office. He was on the computer. He was in his office. He would come home from work. He was a drinker. Someone might call him an alcoholic. I don't like to label people like that. He'd come home from work, with his beer and go in his office, and then I didn't
Got it.
see
So
him
he
or
was
hear
like
from him.
absent in the house.
That is what I've been told.
What do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that. That's what I remember.
Okay. Told by who?
I knew the kind of beer he drank. By my mom, who is still married to him and was in the house also, but she liked to diss him, unfortunately.
I'm trying to calculate here for a second. So
Am I making sense? Am
you're
I
making too much sense. So things
oh
I have to slow
okay.
down the more rapidly you move. So if you're like
Okay.
moving it
Understood.
along at a
Understood.
snail's pace and like I know we need to get from like A to D and you're like
Yeah.
stuck on B, like I can keep on asking questions until you get to
Yeah.
B. It's when you go from like A to F that I'm still stuck at D and I'm like, hold on a second.
Well, that's very flattering. Thank you.
I was about sorry. I was going to say, well, I know how much you appreciate compliments from people who you respect. So,
That is exactly true. And
that's why I
fuck
toss
you.
it out there. That's why we're,
Yeah. Yeah, you think your little thoughts there.
yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
need to, I just moved
Yeah,
my
listen
night
to
and
me.
now you're
Fuck.
in check now.
Fuck.
What you going to do about it?
I'm too easy. I'm too fucking easy, man.
Yeah.
I'm too easy. I gotta tell you.
So go,
Like a guy. Yeah. No, go for it. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, there's everything you're saying is ammo, Emily. But let me kind of zero on this. I'm kind of noticing. Did your mom confide in you?
Yeah, yeah. My dad, so yes, from her marriage, about her marriage problems to my dad. Yes.
Yeah. And how young were you when that started?
Oh, I don't even know. I was aware that something was wrong with my dad, quote unquote, like from the get go. Like he had a porn addiction, he drank too much, but and like I don't know, 9, 10, something.
And when you say your mom had low self-esteem, what does that look like, or how what does that mean?
My mom questions everything she does. She was in an evangelical church that told her she was a bad person, and all these things that unfortunately Christianity sometimes does, or any religion. I'll just say it. And she stayed married to my dad and suffered. And I don't know. I don't know why she's has low self-esteem, but I know that she questions herself over everything. And that's something I like inherited from her, but like I don't know where it comes from.
Did you have to
Her mom was
balance
just a
that?
bitch.
Gro-
Huh?
did you have to balance that growing up?
Not to my awareness, but
Okay.
maybe.
So
I don't
like it's not
know.
like, I mean, if she was caught up with something and anxious, like would you have to basically parent her?
No.
Okay.
She would get more crazy on me. It basically is what happened. Kind of the
What does
other
that
way.
mean, more crazy on you? What does that look like?
She would get more, like I wasn't allowed to watch TV. I wasn't allowed to do anything. I wasn't allowed to be friends with people she didn't approve of. I wasn't allowed to get like a B on a test, that kind of stuff. Like that would
Very
just amp
strict.
up. Yeah. Oh yeah. And that would just amp up. Like, I mean, we were like living like the fucking Duggars or the ISIS or like it was crazy. It was crazy. Like, and the more uncomfortable she got in her own life and her own marriage, the more she transferred that energy to me as her daughter,
And by
wanting me to
transferring,
be better.
yeah, so she tried to control you and try to fix you and sort of like
Yes.
almost displacing the problems elsewhere in her life
Yeah.
onto you.
She wanted to prevent me from ever having to deal with pain. Like she wanted to protect me more and more and more. You know what I mean? Like the more pain she felt, the more she locked me away.
Okay.
Um,
Did you have friends growing up?
yeah, yeah, I did. I wasn't really I mean, I grew up in the age where kids still just went outside with their bikes. So yeah, I did.
And when did
But
friendships
my mother told me who I could and couldn't be friends with, though.
do you tell your daughter who she can and can't be friends with? Okay. And when did so I guess a couple other questions. One is you mentioned that like this power that you have.
So you say.
So when did this power awaken within you?
Ooh. Ooh, that's a good question. Oh, definitely like late 20s. Not bad like 'cause I suffered with low self-esteem for so long, just the cliche, like, dating a guy who's an asshole bullshit. Um, yeah, no, like, late 20s, once I was, like, actually hot, I was like, "I
Okay.
got you guys."
And so so if I remember correctly, you said that around the time you started the sex work was around the time you started having difficulty forming relationships?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've always had difficult but, like, yes, that was sort of like the end. But my best friend, unfortunately, has died. Um, the girl that I was friends with since I was, like, 15, and I actually went to the wedding too to meet my husband. And she stopped talking to me after I started dating my husband. But yeah, I've never made a new friend after that, and even back then, I only had one.
So when did friendships start? So like you went to college,
When I
right?
had my child, because I had my child, I was teenage years. most people are not having children.
Sure.
So I was the weird teenager in the group of moms, or I was like the weird teen mom
Mom.
in the group of teenagers. You
Yeah,
know what I
right,
mean?
right,
Like
right.
I
Yeah. So
there
you
is
didn't,
no group for someone like me.
yeah.
Um,
You were a
so
misfit in either group.
so that's basically what happened, and I started to take any friend I could get at that point, I think.
And can you tell me a little bit about, and once again, if you don't want to talk about this, that's fine. How did the sex work start?
Yeah, so I mean, uh the thing I can put my finger on was going on like a couple Tinder dates. I went on like 2 Tinder dates and I was like, I could get paid for doing this. This is garbage. Um, but like, yeah, I mean, I had always,
What do you mean? Help me understand what happened on the Tinder dates.
yeah, like having sex with someone that you're not in a relationship with,
I see. Okay. So
basically.
Tinder, you discovered casual sex.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, no, I discovered it for like in my adulthood,
Okay.
you know? And then now that I'm, I was late 20s, trying to actually get married. My thing is always like I've always wanted to get married. And I was doing this whole online dating thing and nothing was coming of it except casual sex and somehow I knew that I could get paid for that. And I don't know where that knowledge came from. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of how it started.
Do you find that people judge you for your past work?
So I think I have this is like number 2 on my index card.
Ah, we're getting to the index card.
I don't this is part of my not wanting to be in intimate, friendly relationships with people is there is like this big block of time that I cannot account for. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I could tell you that I was an escort because that was the truth. And that's why I moved to France and that's how I bought this house and but I end up just lying. I end up being that disgusting liar that I never wanted to be. And
When did you not want
so,
to be? When did you conclude that liars were disgusting and that you never wanted to be one?
oh, when I got lied, like when I've met a compulsive liar.
Can you tell me about that?
Not much more other than they're just they're just pathetic. I mean, it's you've met people that like just lie and like think people believe them and like they don't. They just sound ridiculous. I don't know. I
Hmm.
mean, I dated a guy. He was a cokehead. He used to lie about everything and like I just over time I just lost respect and thought he was a joke. So
Okay. Emily, any questions for me? I mean, we've covered a lot of ground. I've got a handful more questions, and then I may try to stitch things together in a little bit. But I'm curious. Any questions for me?
um I would love to have just some people to talk to after our conversation. Um but no.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. So we'll definitely we can follow up after this conversation. We can give you some resources and some suggestions and things like that about
Mhm.
potential follow-ups.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you were thinking is important to talk about, or
Uh,
like
yeah.
pieces of the
Well,
puzzle that are missing?
so, okay, there's 2 things I have on my card that we haven't talked about that I wanna mention. One we touched on just right now, like the lies and the secrets. Um, I feel like I'm becoming a liar and a secret keeper, um, because of my past life, quote unquote. Whenever I meet new friends, like now, let's say, um, people ask me questions that I can't answer, and I just lie. And I
What
don't
kind of
wanna be
question?
that person.
What kind of question would they ask you that you can't answer?
What kind of work did you do in Los Angeles? Or fuck, the place you used to live. Why did you move to France? Which really doesn't have anything to do with that work, but like I had the money and I wanted to get the fuck out of where I was. And I just become this like I lie in conversations without even wanting, like, I don't want to. I want to just say because I'm not ashamed. Like, I loved my job. I loved it. It was like the most fulfilled I've ever felt.
Help me
And
understand that. What was so fulfilling about it?
I think don't, men are very, men are a lot like women. Yeah. To be able to provide love and intimacy to people that I could tell needed it was a wonderful experience for me. And I just, it's, it was fulfilling. I felt meaningful. I felt like I was actually doing something that was good. And like, yeah, every once in a while, like some guy would come around who's just wanted, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Like, and that's fine. But like, for the most part, these guys were suffering with like emotional pain.
Yeah.
And I got to create this little bubble, this little secret bubble that was just me and them. And it just, I could be honest with them and they could be honest with me.
Yeah.
And I've never been, mistreated or assaulted or, all these cliches. I think people, you know, um, I was making like $1,000 an hour. So like, it was, it was amazing. It was amazing. And I wish I could just like, I so wish I could just tell people how amazing it was. And that I just don't do it anymore because I don't have to and all of that. But I can't. I need to lie.
Have what? Where did you learn that you need to lie?
What am I supposed to say? I used to be an escort.
Have you said that before?
Yeah,
And what happens when you do?
it was fine. But I know it was fine before I said it. You know what I mean? Like
Ah,
my parents know, like my close group of friends, like close people know. But like, no, I'm not just gonna like like really? I mean, you know that people wouldn't respond positively. You know that.
well, I think that's the. Yeah, yeah, I know that. I'm just. Can I think for a second? Like a long second. I need like a.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna do a bathroom break. So
Okay,
we'll
you do that.
do a yeah. Okay.
Okay, let's think through this.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay. Okay.
What is Twitch chat saying?
I'm ignoring them, dude.
I never used it honestly. But
I mean, I'm looking sometimes, but
I'm sure it's fascinating.
it's actually
Like,
really
honestly.
it's honestly it's excellent. Like, so the
Okay,
times
okay,
because
good.
you sometimes you're a little bit flirtatious. I think we're both aware that a lot of the things that
Oh,
we're
they even
saying
like
could,
seeing that shit?
huh?
Fuck.
What?
Yeah. No, go on.
So the other thing is that, like, in a different context, if you want to interpret everything we say with sexual innuendo, like half of the statements that we make are, like, there's that too, which I think I'm sure they're picking up on. The interesting thing is they're being respectful enough to not point it out, or maybe
I
that's just
didn't
me.
even, okay, I'm not even getting that. I'm gonna have to
It
go
could
back
just
and
be
read
me.
this. This is fascinating.
So what?
Well, thank you for sharing.
But generally speaking, I think it's really good. Honestly, you can go back and watch the VOD and watch Twitch chat. But I think they're picking up on things. I think they're following the conversation. I think a lot of what you say makes a lot of sense. I also think that so when we think about someone, like when we put, like, for example, if we say that, okay, Dr. K is talking to someone who's a former sex worker, everyone is going to assume that there's going to be like some tawdry, like, oh my God, like sex work, right? But like, I think
We're a different species.
exactly. But
like, we're not human. We're not just regular living.
and I think the reason we have conversations like this is because I think actually quite the opposite. What I'm noticing a lot is that a lot of what you're describing is a bizarrely shared experience. This whole, like, I mean, I'm telling you, it blew my mind. Just amazingly put, that you can be the gifted kid in a group of average kids, or you can be an average kid in a group of gifted kids. I'm sure I wasn't paying attention quite at that point because my mind was blown, but I'm sure you won over Twitch chat with that statement because it's such a beautiful way to describe it.
Thank you. No, and that's what happens when you go to grad school too. You go from college to all the people that wanted to go to grad school, and you realize that you're not all that fucking smart. But yeah, anyway, yeah.
So what I'd like to do, Emily, is sort of share how I understand you to have gotten here, what here is, and then maybe even share a couple of concrete ideas about what you can do.
I love that.
Okay. So I think it starts with your parents, as it often does. So I think the first thing is that I don't know that. Did your parents have friends, by the way?
Maybe one or two, not really.
So that's not surprising, because what I'm sort of hearing is that, like, when you ask some of these questions that are sort of meme worthy or noteworthy, you're like, do people do that? Do people give people keys? Like, what does that happen? So, and when you say something like that, the experience is so foreign to you. And sometimes when people have that foreign of an experience from the common experience, there's also like a self-judgment that comes with it. Like, I'm so bad that I don't know how to make friends. But what I'm really noticing is that, we pick up so much from our home environment. Like, we pick up language, for example, right? And it's not like we ever think about learning language. We just learn language. And so there's all kinds of other stuff that we learn in the home that we don't really appreciate. And one is like how to make friends. Like, what is the normal kind of interaction? So like, if your parents were more social, but I'm sort of getting this picture of your dad comes home, grabs a beer, goes into his office, jerks off.
Yeah.
And that's like,
thanks for that. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, but like that's where, oh God. Okay. So
you're right.
Now my king is in check. So, but if you think about, like, what did you lose in that household? It's like, your dad didn't have friends coming over. Like, you didn't see like reciprocity and mutual respect without something, right? And then, like, you had your mom, which, sometimes we get in this sort of situation where you, like, as a child, you become like parentified. So you start, and I think you were doing some of that for your mom, although in some ways it doesn't sound as overt as some of the cases that I've heard of, where you're like, helping. Like, I've seen this with also sex workers, situations where mom was single parent, mom has a string of abusive and bad boyfriends, and daughter is there to pick up the pieces after substance use, breakup, etc. I'm not quite hearing that, but what I am sort of hearing is that, like, the thing that a friend should have been doing for your mom, which is your mom should have been bitching about her marital problems to her friends, she was doing with you. So like what I'm sort of noticing is that there are a lot of instances where what a normal friendship looks like, how it's formed, and what the boundaries of that are, were not like taught to you on a very basic level. Right? So like your mom had very muddy boundaries with you too, because she's confiding, like, you know, parents should not, like, it's
Or
okay.
even just not having siblings. Like, I was an only child.
Yes.
Like,
Excellent point, right? So
even just, yeah.
yeah, so
I follow, yeah.
and then there's also additional things about having parents that are older. That can create its own set of challenges in terms of like even like physicality. So, you know, if you've got, you know, if you're 10 years old when your dad is like 55, they just can't run around with you the way that a 45-year-old or a 35-year-old can do, right? So there are other challenges there. Also substance use. So there may be, I know you've studied psychology, so there may be like attachment issues there in terms of like them being able to help you feel kind of confident. I'm also sort of noticing that, so it sounds like you had friends and stuff, but that too was very like tightly regulated. So I'm sort of thinking that probably what happened early on, which we maybe don't give it quite as much credit for, is like, you know, this skill that you have of playing other people like instruments. That's probably something you learned as a survival mechanism. Like, I don't think you're manipulative. Like, I don't think you're a bad person or anything like that. It's just like you just had to
Same
learn.
behavior. It doesn't matter what you call it. Yeah.
No, it does matter what you call it, to me anyway. So I think sometimes that carries with it a moral judgment, and I try to think about things. To me, it matters. So once again, respectfully disagree there for a moment, because I think that,
Go on.
you know, like, I think it's important to understand and also to a certain degree forgive yourself if you judge yourself. That like you probably had to learn to be this way, right? Because like you in the absence of learning what a friendship looked like, you started treating people in like a more puzzle-like way. That's what I'm sort of getting the sense of. So there isn't there isn't like a mutualness to it. There isn't a reciprocity. There's like I have to figure this person out.
Yeah. No, that's true. I don't know if I got that from my mom, but yeah, I mean, sure.
No, I mean, I don't know that you learned it from your mom, but I think you had to learn how to do that because of your mom. Because your mom was like, there, like, you to survive your mom's internal displacement of unhappiness into shaping your life.
I need to read the room
Exactly,
really well,
right?
and react in the appropriate way. Absolutely.
And appropriate
have that
here,
whole PTSD thing.
Yeah. So appropriate here meaning like to preserve your safety, and also kind of like get you what you want, because honestly, asking your mom what you want is never going to work.
Dude, can I even tell you, like, there was a whole thing in Christmas where if I asked for like a specific thing on Christmas, that would make sure I wouldn't get that thing. It was so fucked.
Yeah.
But yes.
Right.
Yes.
So that.
Go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, but I mean that's perfect. That's exactly like literally exactly what I'm saying, right? So the way that you learned how to interact with a human being is quote unquote manipulative. But I don't think it's manipulative. It's just like you were just taught.
It's an around.
Yeah, because like that's what you needed to do, right? And so we learn these things, and then I think the other thing, as you sort of mentioned, so like you kind of missed a couple of milestones there. Not missed a milestone, but deck was stacked against you. Let's put it that way. And then if you end up having a kid when you're 16, that also is you're gonna lose additional opportunities to learn what a friendship looks like, right? Because now you've got a kid. I'm not surprised that you're an excellent mother. Not at all. I think it sort of makes sense, right? Because this is like motherhood is the sort of thing where we don't necessarily get taught it ahead of time. So it's sort of a discovery process for each person individually.
An intuitive kind of something. In here.
Yeah. And so you're good at figuring out how to navigate things. So it sort of makes sense to me that you ended up being a very good mother. But also like with college and stuff like that, I'm noticing you may not have had the opportunity to kind of build relationships, you know, and so like now you're kind of entering adulthood and you're not quite sure like how this friendship business works. The other thing that I kind of want to mention is that I think there's a certain tool dependency here. And what I mean by that is you learned a particular way of interacting with people, and you got so good at it that your mind sort of didn't want to bother learning something else. It's sort of like I brush my teeth.
if I have something that works, why?
Exactly.
I'm not
Right.
dumb.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So I'm, and I think that's part of the reason as well, where like you sort of like figured out how these, you figured out a method of that works for you, and that's just how the brain works. Like if I brush my teeth every day with my right hand, I'm not going to wake up one day and start brushing with my left hand. That's just a waste of everyone's time, right? So now I think there are a couple of things here. One is that I think there is an element to power, control, and vulnerability. I think that what we said earlier is also true about, I think you have a lot of difficulty tolerating particular negative, not even emotions. Emotions isn't right. It's not like you're scared, but like, I mean, I guess there is fear, but there's just a
Fear
very,
is an easy, cheap word.
huh?
I said fear is an easy, cheap word.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about. So there's just certain places in a relationship or in yourself or in your life that you have like blocked off as radioactive and you're never going to go there. And so I think vulnerability is a good.
Tell me more.
So like vulnerability, I think is a good example of this. Like you're not going to put yourself into a situation where you can get hurt. Like you're just not going to do that. You're not going to give anyone the keys, like, because then they could come in and who knows what they, like you've been in a situation where you had very little power and you had to learn how to be manipulative in order to like succeed. And so you're done with that and you're never going back. I think the challenge there is that, and so then like you, when it comes to some of these relationships, I think once you start to enter areas that make you feel uncomfortable, you use some amount of like morality and other kinds of things to like steer away from that, right? So like you're like with your friend who, and it's not, when I say use morality, that sounds bad, but like let's say your friend needs money, right? So like it just feels so
It's easy.
bad to not help them.
Yeah.
And
it's easy to do it. Like it's emotionless. It's mindless.
Well, no, well, so that's actually emotionless, I think is a good word because I think to not do it is emotionful. Right? So if you didn't give your friend money, how would you feel emotionally?
I don't know.
Like my guess is that you'd feel really bad.
Bad?
Yeah.
Bad. Yeah,
And
bad.
I don't think you're willing to feel that emotional badness.
Yeah.
So you turn things transactional.
That's good. Yep.
The other interesting thing is that you mentioned, I don't know how true this is, but you mentioned that actually with your sex work, you could be intimate and authentic with another person too.
Absolutely. Yes.
So the interesting thing is there, under the guise of a transactional relationship, you can be authentic.
Yep.
But under the guise of an authentic relationship, you can be transactional.
Yes.
Right? So somewhere along the way, like some
Bada bing, bada boom. What the fuck now, though?
We'll get there. Okay. So like the first thing is to just, this got flipped for you.
It did. No, but it's so easy that way. It's so much easier. Like that's what I just keep coming back to. Is it's like I feel like I'm very smart. I am gifted, whatever, and like I figure out the easy way out.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
But I guess now it's fucking me. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, so that's what growing up is, right? So growing up is actually, so one of my supervisors once told me something that blew my mind. Growing up is the process of abandoning what works. Which sounds kind of weird.
Go on.
So, because we tend to think like, oh, like, but don't we want to abandon things that don't work? Does it really work? But if we think about, let's say like a 10-year-old who throws temper tantrums and then they turn 15 and they throw temper tantrums. Why do they throw temper tantrums? It's because it got them what they wanted. And then as we turn 15, like some people aren't going to put up with our bullshit, but we don't necessarily but some people are. So we keep on throwing temper tantrums. So over time,
we're either going to choose to stop throwing temper tantrums or we're going to choose to hang out with the people that accept it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
I follow.
Right. So and you're doing the same damn thing, Emily, Because you're going to hang out with people who will accept your money and then hang around with you for 6 months and then will disappear because it gets too fucking weird. Or you'll hang out with dudes, play wing woman. Like you're only going to enter your field and you'll play that game, but you don't want to go play a different ball game, right? Chessboard is totally fine.
Right.
Soccer field, no way.
Yeah, I'm not going to lose a game. Yeah.
Right.
I only will do what I already know I can win.
Yes.
And if I ever start to lose, I will stop.
Yep.
The traditional gifted kid mantra.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Right?
Very good. Right. So it's going to be.
I've read the internet.
Good. It shows.
Thanks.
So I think going forward, I think what it's going to come down to is actually a couple of very specific things. The first is that as you engage in a relationship, what I think you need to be a lot more tuned into is yourself. So I think you are so in tune with other people, like all of your attention, all of your telescopes and cameras and lenses are pointed at other people. You know exactly what you're doing with them. So like, you know how to get people to take your money when you want to give it to them. You know how to like pitch things. So kind of like you said, like, beautifully put, I only tell people about my history as a sex worker when I know it's going to be okay. You've already figured it out. There's no question mark. It's already been mapped out, right? And so the challenge here is that you're so tuned into other people that I don't think you're tuned into yourself. And what really needs to change, and ultimately the way that you're behaving is based on your internal emotions. Like when you say like things devolve, I get on the wrong, well, like who the fuck is, it's not them doing it, right?
I devolve it.
Yeah, you devolve it. And the reason that it feels like your lack of control is because you're blind to like the internal signals. Like you just don't see who's doing the controlling. So the first thing, and the way I think this is going to look is the next time you have an opportunity for a platonic relationship, like it's going to be like super concrete. You're going to be somewhere and then your mind is going to be like, I don't know what to say right now. So I'm going to be a little bit scandalous and I'm going to point out that guy. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, like, hey, like he looks kind of cute. Like, do you want to go over and say hi? And she's like, no, don't do that. And now she feels uncomfortable. You're in control. Oh no, I can help you with that. Like, I got you. You got this. And then you kind of slip into a role, right?
Yeah.
And then, and so suddenly like your discomfort of like not knowing what to say, let me activate this script, let her feel uncomfortable. I'm going to help her. It's going to be great. We're going to have fun. Let's order a little bit of wine. It's going to be a fantastic time.
I love you, Dr. K.
Yeah. Right?
Fucking fuck you, and I love you. Yeah. Keep going. Keep going.
I don't know exactly how to respond to that. A general positive sentiment. Thank you. I love you too. So.
Shut up.
Let me just, derailed me for a second. I was thinking about the subtext of this conversation. No, that's okay.
I fucked with your head on purpose, I think.
Yeah, I know. And I was just deciding, should I fall into it, or if I ignore it, she's going to realize that I'm ignoring it and I'm not commenting on it. And then it's, so. So I decided you debated me into saying I love you. And I was like, okay, I'm going to say I love you too. And then we'll just move on.
Don't say that. Just no. What? God damn it.
We could keep going.
That is the first bad. What were you gonna say, Dr. K? What is your
so going back to actually helping you. Yeah. So that too, by the way, I'm wondering now whether you're becoming uncomfortable with this because you're starting to.
Maybe I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. Because why the fuck else am I being this way?
Yeah. So let's actually do that now. So what's making you uncomfortable about this?
Ooh. I mean, on the face of it, just the fact that you have my number, like you're right on everything, and I thought that I knew everything. I thought I knew what was going on and why I did certain things, and to hear someone explain it better than me is threatening. The idea that I don't know something about myself is threatening. The idea that someone, especially a man, could identify with me is scary. Um, yeah, I like it. I'm energized in a
Yeah.
way. Like I'm very like into this. But yeah, it is like a little like I've never had someone like call me out.
So I think that's, so I've noticed that as I started my summary, I was noticing you getting increasingly uncomfortable. Like your body language has changed. You're a lot more fidgety. And I think that it's okay to feel all those things at the same time. To feel a little bit threatened. I think the other thing that I wonder if you're feeling is like reduced. So I'm sort of like simplifying things, and it can be a little
Well,
bit,
not until you said that, but yeah.
right? So I think there's a part of
Because
you that,
it sounds pretty cheap when you put
yeah,
it
like I'm
like it
kind of like
is.
boiling down your experience to a 5-minute nugget of a summary. And that is actually like demeaning. Right. So I'm wondering if you're feeling that too, which is why you're getting saucy.
Not until you've brought it up, but it's completely possible. And I'm trying to defend myself by being a little bitch to you. Honestly, I
Or put me in my
couldn't tell
place,
you.
which is potentially where I deserve to be.
I am trying to, so like you now have gone there and I'm trying to like
Yeah. So
nothing personal. I do
I
this
don't,
to everyone.
yeah. I'm not personally hurt or anything like that. I'm really enjoying this conversation. And I think it's like, this is good because now we're like getting into, as you amp up, right? Because like, and as you say certain things, and then it's, as you say things that are complimentary, and like, I love you, the I love you comment is really a landmine when we really kind of look at it. Because
I am actually like a huge fucking fangirl of Dr. K though, of like helping
yeah,
him. Like
that I
exists.
can also understand, but anyway, we don't need to get too much into it.
It's still inappropriate, right? It's fucking weird and inappropriate. It's weird.
Yeah.
Let's
So
just say it.
I think that's where, once again, when you say something like that, there's a separation of comfort, right? So like now you're taking the reins back, because is he going to say it? Is he not going to say it? If I didn't say anything about it, you may have
Right?
amped
'Cause
up
it
if I
puts
kept
you
going.
on the spot. It puts you on the spot.
Exactly.
Not me on
Exactly.
the spot. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So then even now, like there's a break in the eye contact, and like, so, but that's okay. Like it's all okay, Emily. Like the main thing here is just like, take a moment, close your
You
eyes.
keep using my first name a lot.
Sorry.
Even after I told you I didn't like it.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
Oh, I'm doing it again. Sorry.
yeah, good. You see that?
Yeah.
So
it
close.
was like, yeah.
Close your eyes for a second, please. Okay. What are you feeling right now, Emily?
Happy.
And what else?
Elated.
Is there something besides happiness?
Physiological arousal. Like there's,
Yep. Okay. So is there panic?
No.
Danger?
No.
Threatened?
No. I mean, I don't think so.
Okay. We're going to trust you. I'm going to.
Maybe I'm feeling that, but my way of responding to it is to overemphasize the friendliness.
Yeah, so I
to
do
be
think
extra friendly.
there's something about your response which indicates to me some kind of discomfort, but I think this is the challenge of being vulnerable. Is that it is both uncomfortable and elating. Because when someone sees you, it's terrifying, but also like really great. Right? And I think that's where, just like you're doing it with me, I think you're
It's
doing
like taking a shit.
I don't you lost me there.
Sorry. No, it's like shitty, but it feels good.
Oh, yeah. Well
I
said,
mean,
yeah. Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's
Sorry.
brilliant.
I did it again.
No. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. This is what I'm saying is recognizing it is the most important thing. You don't need to change your behavior. Don't worry about changing it. You keep on doing it. You can say whatever you want to. You can be provocative. You can make me feel awkward. You can make me feel uncomfortable. You can escalate it as much as you want to. It's totally fine.
Listen,
but
do not invite me to do that because I will fuck your life up.
I'm sure you will. So consider that invitation rescinded. But you said don't see. Now we got sidetracked again. Just debate. I can't even. I'm trying to finish this conversation, but you won't let me.
Baby.
Yeah.
Keep the range.
No. So what I'm trying to say is just notice it. You don't have to fix it. Okay. You really don't have to fix it, because you can't. The first thing to get off the tracks is like, you have to know when you're getting off the tracks. You have to like see where's the fork in the road. And right now, I think there's a blind spot for you. So like, all this kind of crap is coming out, which is fine. But like, now what I want you to do is exactly what you're doing here. I want you to do that with someone who's a potential friend. But then like, be a little bit more aware, right? So like, recognize that it's going to feel good. It's going to feel bad. You're going to feel threatened. You're going to feel uncomfortable. And don't do this thing where you like separate out the oil and water. We want it to emulsify. Like, don't create your comfort at the expense of theirs. Don't take control away from them, because it's this reciprocity and this being on the same footing. Like, you shouldn't be charitable to your friends. I know it sounds kind of weird.
Okay.
But like, charity is like one thing.
It's inappropriate, right?
Well, it's not. It's about boundaries. It's like, are we on the same level? And part of the reason this interaction is so engaging is because we are on the same level, right? Yeah, and that can feel like, but
it's like a chess game.
Yeah. Right. So but when you have an opportunity for friendship, the reason you default to some of these patterns is because we've said you're good at it. Like if you have.
But I've never had a friend that it's like, I mean, not to, like, the one friend I've had that I had this sort of banter with, so to speak. I guess that's what you could call it. That's unfortunately passed. And I don't know how do I create this with women?
So I think
that men who don't want to fuck me. How about that? Well,
so I think whether men want to fuck you or not is not an independent variable of the man. Right. What I'm noticing is that it has some.
Restate.
So whether men want to fuck you or not, I think also has to do with your behavior.
Yeah. So that means I can make any man want to fuck me.
Not necessarily, but I think that you are good at influencing other people's behavior. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
So that's also where, like, depending on how you interact with a dude, that's going to shape the way that he responds to you. And if you
so that's one of my questions, though. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but that's one of my questions is that, like, so we talked about my challenges about friendships with women, but then when it comes to friendships with guys, obviously it devolves into whatever the fuck is going on here, and it's never actually a friendship. It's just this cat and mouse little game that I don't know. Yeah,
but so if we look at it, and I'm going to say something that's going to place some degree of, in a sense, blame here, but like, the reason we're playing cat and mouse has more to do with you than it has to do with me, I would say, because you're the one who's making provocative statements, right?
I'd hope so.
Right. So, but
you made provocative statements toward women on stream. I don't think that would be a very good thing
I don't
to do.
think so either. So I'm walking this tightrope in my head of how much do I play the game that you want to play to help you feel comfortable, and how much do I want to like? Because if I were like, because this would have gone nowhere if I was like, Emily, you're making me uncomfortable. And then I would have activated. Like, it would have been like another script where you would have played like a good girl, right? Oh, I'm so sorry. And then you would have been vulnerable, and then you would have cried. And then we would have felt so sympathetic, and it would have all been bullshit.
Dr. K, you're the best. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
This is why I want to fucking talk to you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Right.
So that's where I think you've got to be like. So the thing is, you have power, Emily. You have a ton of power in all of these relationships. So the main thing is you got to just. So I'd say very concretely, just listen to people more. Right. So if someone says something, like, ask questions. Like, just try to understand them a little bit better, right? Like, you don't, and then and I think this is so hard for you because I genuinely think it sounds like you're a very caring person. You're a very giving person. And so when you hear about someone else's suffering, even if we think a little bit about why you felt so fulfilled through sex work, like, I don't think that that's strange at all. Like, it may sound strange to people, but what we're hearing is that, it's almost therapeutic for these people, right? Like, and so you know, like that doesn't surprise me at all. I think that that's very authentic. And so like there's a part of you where you are able to be your best self when you are helping people. But the problem is that, as we sort of mentioned, because of the way things got kind of messed up with a friendship, you don't know how to do that unless there's some kind of transaction, because then you can like really help people. Whereas like, so I think it's really just about tolerance. Like what you got to learn is just to fucking sit there and like not do anything. You know, I'm not saying like literally don't do anything, but just tone whatever your impulses have. Like you're going to have all these impulses. And you'll be like, yeah, I want to say this. I want to say that. Just like rein it in a little bit, right? Give the others, because this is the other thing is I don't think you give people space in the relationship. So you have to like give that person, like, I want you to mentally like withdraw from filling up, controlling 70% of that conversation to like 55, right? You can still have more than half. But just give that other person space, right? And this is where very practically, like, you know, if someone says, oh, I'm struggling, like, don't be a fixer. This is generally speaking a typically masculine trait, right? It's not, when I say typically, I mean like historically and stereotypically.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I think you really try to fit, like help people, right? But then it's like, then it's kind of weird because the nature of your relationship has to do with you helping them, and then it's not reciprocal. So I think it's going to be deeply, deeply uncomfortable for you. It's not going to be...
Yeah, this is uncomfortable.
Yeah, right? To like not...
Talk.
Yeah. And so, but I think you can do it. I don't... I mean, it's not going to be easy. But just give the other person some space. And like, don't try to fix them. And like, you can have value, huh?
Oh, there, where you just went.
Yeah,
like,
you can have this.
I don't think I have value. I think the value I add to people is concrete, and I give them money and I give them gifts, and I just like, so that's how I kind of related this whole thing back to sex work. Was I never hung out with a guy unless he paid me. And then when I went to go hang out with people, I paid them. It's like this
Yeah.
You know.
So, but that makes perfect sense. So I was going to say you have value independent of like helping people in a sense. Like,
do I?
Yeah. I know it sounds weird, but so and that makes...
How do you know that?
Let me think about how to answer that. Because I've experienced it.
Experience what?
Value without benefit. Intrinsic value.
All right.
And I think the reason you haven't experienced it is because you don't give yourself the chance to. Right? So when you help someone very actively, that is going to supersede like the subtler value of just like being around. Like, you know, a tree has intrinsic value outside of the shade it provides, which can be hard to sort of understand. But I think this is the kind of thing where I don't blame you for being confused by that. I mean, I may be wrong, first of all, right? That's absolutely...
You're not wrong. Go on. You're not wrong.
But I think it's just the sort of thing where you haven't given someone the opportunity to appreciate you without you providing something to them. And now
Right.
you've become terrified that if you don't provide something to them, you won't be appreciated. And so it's kind of like you're stuck. Because
it's a self-fuckery moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Like that's, I could have written that on like the top, like this whole card says that basically. Like,
what does it say?
I need to earn people's love. It says I need to earn people's love.
Well, so
but I'm not really worth it on just sitting here on my own, just being a person. The human soul that's inside of me isn't really worth much.
Yeah, right. And I don't know where...
Which is wrong. You know, I don't know.
How do you know that?
How do I know it's wrong?
Yeah.
Because it's fuck, I might be right, but like it's just wrong for people. Like, or living beings, or the trees, and you talked about the trees, and that sort of like attaches to my spirituality. But there is nothing wrong. There is no one wrong. There is nothing wrong in my true belief system.
So I'm going to bring in your daughter for a second. So like, I'm sure that your daughter adds a lot of value to the world, but I suspect that when it comes to your daughter, that's going to be your compass of intrinsic value. Because she doesn't,
Yeah.
right? So like she's awesome just by being her, not because she does this or wears this or does this. So you
Right.
know that on some level. And now what it comes down to, and this is kind of where I'll kind of end. I mean, we can still keep talking and there's more to say, but like to try to tie things together. When you're sitting with someone, you're going to have this tug in you to like provide value, make jokes, activate scripts, or move towards trees, your daughter just being there. And it's going to be absolutely terrifying because in your mind, in that moment, there's going to be like a what if. Right? Like, what if I don't
What if
say
there's
this?
nothing there?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what if there's nothing there?
But the challenge here, and this is what's so hard, Emily, about your situation, is you can't know that until you take away the concrete value, you take away the extrinsic value, and someone sticks around. And that's going to be even more terrifying. And then if you're not careful, what you're going to do next is try to drive them away. And you're going to test
Welcome
them.
to my marriage.
Your marriage is fine. Relax, Emily. You're doing fine.
No, it is. It is. It is. But like, yeah, no, that sort of dialogue or that
Yeah.
whatever
Right?
the fuck. Yeah. Yeah.
So just be prepared for it. And it doesn't have to happen super rapidly.
I'm prepared. I want to know how to the fuck to like avoid that shit. Like,
no, I mean, you don't avoid it. You tolerate it.
I tolerate just not having good relationships with people.
No.
What's the point of that?
No. So what I'm saying you have to tolerate is in the moment, you're going to want to behave in a certain way that you're going to like want to shift the track. Don't shift the track. And the reason that it's going to be hard is because you're actually going to be feeling a huge torrent of stuff, which by the way, the alcohol is also something you need to be careful about. So you mentioned 12-step. You know, some of this stuff, like you said, social anxiety. So I think some of these, when you say social anxiety, I have no idea. I mean, it also sounds like you've seen a therapist, but like this is the kind of thing where
I've seen like 12 therapists.
Okay. So this is the kind of thing that you know, these feelings that I'm talking about and asking you and telling you that you may need to tolerate could be the ones that you're getting rid of with liquid courage.
Sure. Absolutely. 100%.
Right? So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, you're saying it just, I have to walk through the shit
yeah.
to get to the other side. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because it's
Great.
I know it's not but I mean
Cool.
I think that the challenge here, Emily, is that you can't, the way you're going to feel about yourself when you climb out of the shit on the other side and someone is like, Emily, it's so great to see you, and wraps you in a hug, it's going to be confusing, bewildering, and exactly what you need. Because when someone does that, you will have found a friend.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. K.
Questions, thoughts? How
All
you
of
holding
them.
up?
Yes.
This has been hard.
This is awesome. I fucking love this.
Okay.
Whatever this, I don't know what you call this. I call it therapizing. But like, I love getting into just the nitty gritty, and thank you for being honest with me.
Sure.
And that's why I respect, like, just, yeah.
How are you feeling about what we've talked about? Because I'm sort of still getting the sense that you're not really sure what to do.
Yes, there definitely is a level of like, you're telling me things that I feel like for on the large part I already know.
Yep.
Like facts, right? Like, and my big question is then, now what?
So like
I feel like I've been to like every therapist in the world, and I know this isn't therapy or medical advice or anything, but I've heard this from so many people, and they've described, not as in depth and eloquently as you have, but sort of, you're describing what I'm describing, right? Like, you're just saying what I'm saying back to me, right? So what do I do about this? Like,
yeah, so
is this okay?
Yeah, this
Can I
is
just be like this?
It is okay to be like this. It is not okay to stay like this. Is what I would say. And that's what when you're asking me what to do, I'm saying like literally, it sounds like you are able to start social relationships, but then they go off track. And what I'm telling you is that the going off track involves like a 60-second moment of you engaging in certain tactics. And if you want to make friends, you cannot engage in those tactics. Furthermore,
How do I not engage in the tactics?
it starts by becoming aware of the internal discomfort that is prompting you to engage in the tactics in the first place. And if you're drinking, you're numbed all that shit and you don't even realize what's going on. That's practically what you have to do, is you have to go and have coffee with someone who is a woman or a man, and then don't flirt with them.
You're yelling at me, Dr. K.
Yes. Yes, I am. How does that feel?
Made me smile.
Okay.
I need to have coffee with a woman or someone who is not anyone who I could have a sexual target for me.
Right. So don't have someone with coffee with someone who's hitting on you or anything like that. And then it's going to feel weird. Like, it's going to feel weird to sit with them. And then you're going to want to point out a guy, or you're going to want to enter your script. So you can think a little bit about what your predetermined scripts are. And then you're going to be like, I don't know what the fuck to say. I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why this person is with me. All of those thoughts are going to come up. And the second you say, hey, that guy's cute over there. And then the friend that you're with is like, oh, like, right? And then it's like all those thoughts go away because you're back in the driver's seat. So all I'm saying is you just got to sit there in the shit. That's what you have to do. And it's going to feel bad. But, like, it's what you need. Now, I recognize that can feel unsatisfying.
No, it makes sense. And it feels like shit, like I'm doing it right now. It sucks. Yeah. No, fuck. Okay. Yeah.
Good, right? So I recognize that it feels bad, but you're giving me space, or I'm taking it, which is why I'm yelling. I'm like shoving you. Right? Like, no, give me space, Emily. This is mine.
It's good. See, you're like we're like a equal.
Yeah, right. So and that's ultimately what you need, is you need equality in this. Like, that's how you form a friendship.
Right.
And I
have yet to meet someone who could stand up to anything I say. And maybe I need to shut the fuck up. I think, well, obviously I need to shut the fuck up a lot more, but maybe I just need to also like look for new people. I don't know.
Yeah. So that's the other thing, which is an excellent point, which is like the other option here is that you just keep meeting people till you meet someone who's playing at your level. And if you meet someone who plays at your level, like, they're not going to fall for your BS.
Yeah,
right?
I just met him. He's right here. But like, but no, like, that's so easy. But like, no one will fucking talk to me directly and like tell me the truth.
Okay, so there are two things I have to say to that. The first is that I think there's a selection bias there because, like you said already, you know what people are going to say, like, in terms of sex workers, like disclosing sex work, right? So I think you're careful about avoiding people who will do that, because then you're not going to be in control, because if they can bat at your level, like, you're not going to be in control. So I think you got to be careful about, you may be avoiding those people. The second thing is that now I'm going to draw on my own spiritual beliefs. So I think that karmically, finding those people does not help you grow at all.
Okay.
Right? Because if you found those people, like, we wouldn't be having this, it would be a non-issue. Right. So I think this is where, like, at your stage in life, which I think you're capable of a ton, because you're gifted. Right? You have so much
special.
I
have so much potential.
Yeah.
So much potential. Oh, fucking.
Yeah. So sorry to trigger you there, but I think this is where, like, it sounds like you've been through a lot of stuff. You've had to grow a lot. I mean, you've faced really challenging home situation, became a parent at 16, have an 18-year-old daughter now, lived in different parts of the world. Yeah, there you go, devaluing yourself when I'm trying to be
Yeah,
empathetic and I'm
no.
trying to say,
What
oh,
is what is hard about that? I had a two-parent household that was upper middle class, and moved across.
Emma,
I've had
no,
every
no.
fucking privilege
Here's
ever.
here's what's hard about it. What's hard about it is in that moment, I am setting you up to be someone who needs the help. And you don't want to be in that box and you're not going to accept it from anyone. And as long as you keep doing that, you can never have a friend.
All right.
Right? So do you have lots of advantages? Sure.
Everyone has lots of advantages now, though, I guess you could say, right? Like, we're in the 21st
Who cares
century.
about
Like,
everyone? I don't care about everyone, right? We're talking about
well,
you.
I do. Okay.
But I mean,
I'm trying to
that's
deflect.
where create the space where it's okay for you to be helped by other people as well. I got derailed. Oh yeah, and karmically, like I think this is where you need to grow.
Yeah.
This is the thing that you need to learn to like grow as a human. And so you can try to find the right person. Hopefully life will send you that person. But like, I think really you're going to, that's where I sort of get the sense that life gives you challenges until you figure that challenge out, like you're not ready for the next thing. But,
I agree with that.
But I think at the end of the day, you're so good at dealing with people. Like the only opponent that you can find who's really at your level is you. So that's what you have to grapple with. Like you've beaten all the other people.
You're flattering me, and I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
And that is so kind. And I think you can tell that flattery gets behind my shield.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, fucking A.
And
Okay.
you're so observant. I didn't think you were going to call me out on the flattery or the compliments.
Well, I don't know why the fuck you're I've listened to your other streams, and I'm like, he's not, telling other people how great they are. Like, anyway, but yeah, no, you're playing. You play the game. You play the same game I do.
Yep.
Yeah. And are you happy?
With in general or with this conversation or what?
No, in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can play this game and be happy.
Play which game? Oh, like the game, like
the seeing into somebody's soul and letting them see into yours, like.
Yeah, because I think in that sense we may not. So, you mentioned that you're able to be intimate with someone, authentic with someone, support them, right? Which is like, I think that's very similar to what I do. I think it's not, I mean,
I think it's absolutely the same. I think
Yeah,
you're able to like key into someone's shit and like, you get it.
Yeah. So I think, so I agree with you, but I think if I were to say it's the same, I am, there's a physicality that's different.
Nah.
Right.
No,
But
honestly, like sex work, it's not even, I mean, people would be shocked how little it has to do with sex or physicality or anything. I mean, they'd be shocked. It's,
yeah. So in general, I'm happy. I do tend to find that I enjoy my days a little bit less nowadays. Mm-hmm. Just because I don't. So what I really enjoy is like talking to a person, and I just don't get to do that as much as I used to like 2 or 3 years ago. So now it's like
I was lurking on the Reddit. I'm on the Reddit, and they were saying that you weren't doing viewer interviews as much as you were before.
Yeah, so for a long period of time, we would have people like post questions on Discord and stuff like that. Like we would get thousands of questions, and then we just never answered them because so we can interview one person or we can answer like 3 to 4 questions. And so what we sort of noticed is that people were asking all these questions, and like we just weren't getting to anything. And so we tried to balance.
People weren't listening to like other people's conversations to try to get information about their own life because people are self-centered.
No, I mean I think people. That wasn't our experience. I think actually this is what helps the most, actually. So in terms of helping people, I think you've helped a ton of people today because, you've shown us an insight into your life. And I think everyone who's watching, I've learned a lot. I'm sure everyone else who's watching has learned a lot. I've never had anyone, by the way, joust with me the way that you have on stream. So it's a first for me too.
Oh, honey, it's not over yet. Yeah, no, thank you. I mean,
I'm terrified.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, Oh my God. So that I'm terrified is like the biggest compliment you could ever say to me is like
You didn't
people
think I
being
knew
scared of
that
me.
before I said it?
No, I didn't think you knew that. Okay, Mr. Whatever the fuck. Okay, I didn't think you knew that. I walked up on someone, it was at night, I walked up on them, like, I was behind
Uh-huh.
them, and it was a guy, and he pulled a fucking baton out of his pocket and, like, splayed it out because he was like, "Holy shit, I thought you were some guy, like, trying to walk up on me." Anyway, yeah.
But
But I'm so glad that this turned out well because, if I may refer to my cardigan, um, w my shame regarding my past work has stopped me from making friends, right? As we talked about, like I can't really answer for like, what have you been doing for the past 5 years? Um, but like, and like doing things like this with you, right? Like, I can't even believe that I like sent you a request because it would just be like not acceptable in my world,
well,
you
so
know?
I mean that's the thing is I think I know it's going to be challenging, but you can share your work with people before you know how they're going to respond. It's going to be a surrender of power, right?
LOL.
That's the challenge. Is
Yeah.
that I don't think you're
Yeah.
ready to do that yet, which is why I didn't say just tell people like if someone asks you like what have you been doing? Oh, I did sex work for a while, and you know, like you could say that and then you're
Yeah, I guess. So what's the worst that could happen? They don't like me anymore?
yeah. I mean, you just have to make sure that they're not socially connected with other people and can't talk shit about you and stuff like that. But yeah. And for what it's worth, if you want one last round of jousting, I actually am scared of you, which is why I had to imply that.
Fuck yes.
So that was sort of like me signaling it was like flexing, basically, that, oh, like, because I have to be careful. Otherwise, I could
What were you
lose.
flexing about? What
So
were
when
you
I
flexing
mentioned to
about?
you that I'm aware of, how telling you I'm terrified will. So that's sort of me sort of saying, oh, I knew all your plan all along, right? But really
Oh,
what I'm doing there
I'm
is
totally onto you.
that's an intimidation technique from me because I'm afraid.
No,
So
I'm doing the same shit right here. I
yeah.
mean, we're doing the same shit to each other. That's what I like.
So this
Like,
is
yeah,
reciprocity. It feels good, right? It's cool.
it does. Like, this is what I mean. Again, you're not my friend. You are Dr. K. You're on the internet. That's you're not. That's fine. But like this shit, I don't get into with people. Like, I have yet to meet someone who can actually like meet my whatever the fuck my energy.
Yeah, so that's where I think there are a couple things there. The first is that just because we're not friends doesn't mean that we both can't be sad about not being friends,
Okay, sure.
right? So we can say, like, it would be cool if, and we can kind of acknowledge those feelings.
No, don't do that.
Okay.
That's bullshit what you just said, right?
What do you mean? No.
We can be sad that we're not friends?
Yeah.
What is that? What?
Uh,
Why would you be sad that you're not friends with someone that you
because
could
there's
be
a
friends
potential
with?
for a real friendship there
So why not just be friends?
because of boundaries.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're okay. So like sad about the boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah.
didn't. Yeah.
No, totally fine. The other thing is that I think that these kinds of like these kinds of back and forth, I think like that's what's so cool about like this community is that I think that, people are going to resonate with that. I mean, if you lurk our subreddit, you're going to know that people are always talking about, I have trouble taking my mask off. Right. So I think that there are people like you.
I'm a guy who can't fuck. That's what I see.
What? I just lost.
Sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I get the sense, I don't know if I'm just kind of fatigued at this point because there's been so many layers of like 4D, 5D, and 8D chess.
No. You're not fatigued. You're not fatigued. I was just being a little bratty for a second.
No, I'm saying I feel like I'm fatigued. And also, I think that we're starting to open up new things, which I want to digest and sort of sit with where we are, if you're okay with that. Are you feeling offended that I said something like that? Just now? Okay. So Any kind of
I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling fearful right now.
what?
My of um I enjoyed our conversation and I want to continue. And I don't want to say anything that's gonna make it stop. But I know that my talking won't what I say won't make you like hang up on me or anything. But like I'm scared of that.
Yeah, so I want to just commend what you have done because multiple times throughout this conversation, you would not have said that. You would have done something to force me to engage with you. Do you see that?
That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's this is yeah, that's
So,
what I'm
so
doing.
like honestly, what you did just now is exactly what you need to keep doing to make friends. You don't have to vocalize it, but your awareness of wanting to hold on and your like awareness of the fear and then like not giving into, like making a, now I'm seeing you're getting more like what are you feeling now?
Mm, just the realization that this is what I do. Just like it's I was kind of toying with it in my head. Like I knew I was kind of doing it, but then I realized like, yeah, I this is my only way to show up as a friend. And I mean, I don't blame people not necessarily wanting to be friends with this, And yeah, that's where
Well, I mean,
this
so,
is.
Emily, that's the beautiful thing is that I think if you show what you just showed, this is like because you make a lot of statements here that people can really connect to. This is the only way I know how to show up. Beautifully put. Right. And even that is something that if got to be not first conversation, but like after you have coffee with someone 3 or 4 times, like if you kind of share
Yeah.
that, I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to because that's the reason you're this way is because human beings are like this, right? That you learn something, that's all you kind of know. And it's okay to be afraid. And it's okay to realize that so far you've had, you've got a couple of good tools that you use, but that realization is really the first step. And like, I'm serious, I've seen a change with you. Like, just go back and watch 1 hour from now and now, like you're on the right track. And
Have we
I'm
been
genuinely
going that
optimistic for you.
long? I don't even know how long we've been talking.
We've been at this for a little over 2 hours.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, time
That's why
flies when
good
you're
at what
having
you
fun.
do, man. Dude, like this is amazing. I, yeah. You got me to cry. Fuck. Yeah. No, yeah. I, I don't know. I don't know if you're right or not. Like that's where I come back to, and I think I come back to it with every person I've ever talked to, like about my shit, right? My whatever nonsense. It's like you can tell me something that sounds good and makes sense, but is it true? Like, is it real? Is it true, or is it just something that sounds good?
Well, I think that that's something that the jury's still out on. And I would say, I mean, I think, I mean, I think so.
You think it's true?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that, I think the two of us have been working together. Right. And I think the conclusions that we're going to come to are like likely to be correct.
But we both have the same little crazy. We both have the same
Yeah.
crazy.
So if one of us was working against each other, then we may be able to trick one another. But if we're on the same
okay.
team, then
No, we're on the same team though, so we're like going down the same. Like, I just see us like flying off the same cliff together. Like we're just like, yes, this is great. Like I don't know. I get suspicious when someone agrees with me. I get suspicious because I think that I'm just inherently wrong in a lot of ways, or just damaged or something.
Yeah, so I think that also ties in to what we've been talking about why you have to put on the mask in the first place, because there's self-doubt. So it's kind of interesting because like what I'm hearing you say is that I doubt myself that if someone else agrees with me, they must be wrong.
They must be crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas like,
Yep.
and that
Yep.
just speaks to the, and then that gets to everything else, which is like why you have to provide value for people because there's something fundamentally broken in here. Whereas no, I mean, I think that, it all kind of, that's consistent to me.
Are you telling me that there is nothing fundamentally broken in me?
No. I'm not saying that. So that's why I didn't say that. So, so
Okay.
I think there is something fundamentally broken in you, but I think it can absolutely be fixed. So I think
Okay.
and we kind of talked about that, right? Like you've got two wires that are crossed. The transaction wire and the relationship
Yeah.
wire have been snipped and then attached otherwise. That just needs to be stopped and rewired.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm being
that's okay.
that was disrespect. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Um,
I, I think we're sort of
I
hitting
guess
our
that's just
limit.
like my like like my internal, like I am hitting sort of a wall of like yes, something's wrong with me, and I just need to not do that anymore. Like, great,
Yeah. So
cool.
we've talked about this 3 or 4 times now, right? So we brought this up. So I would kind of go back to where you were a little while ago. And I'm going to sort of say maybe we should wrap up the conversation, but because I think we're actually moving a little bit further away, which is, that moment where you're sharing that fear and sort of sitting with that is exactly where you need to be, because then you're not diverting. And so that's what you need to do. And sometimes that's kind of unsatisfying because we want a resolution here and now where the problem is fixed. But I think your problem is the very practical side of it is like in the moment in conversations.
Right. Okay.
Any last thoughts or questions before we wrap up?
I don't think so. I just want to thank you, and it's been really helpful.
Thank you very much. I normally teach meditation at the end. I'm just trying to think a little bit about, are you interested in learning something or telling us a little bit about your meditative practice?
I am interested in learning. Yes.
What you said you meditate? Did I hear you? What kind of meditation do you do?
In and out, just closing the mind,
Okay.
coming into right here. I've done ketamine kind of meditations too. It's like a mental health treatment. So
Okay. Um,
I mean, you don't have to meditate with me. It's okay.
no. I'm just trying to think about what technique do I think would help you the best. So have you learned grounding techniques before?
No.
Okay.
I've
So
never been taught any meditation. I just
okay.
sort of just done
So what I'd like to do is teach you a grounding technique. So when I say that, the next time you're with someone and you feel that impulse of fear or whatever, what I'm going to try to teach you is something that lets you step outside of that and kind of like into the present. So I'm also getting kind of a vibe that this has been helpful to you and you kind of don't want it to end. Is that fair to say? Okay. So I want you to close your eyes and take that feeling of like wanting more, wanting to hold on. And this can work for any kind of feeling that you like want to learn how to tolerate. Okay? So just notice the desire to hold on.
Okay.
And that desire will lead you to say more things, ask questions, things like that. It's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that feeling. But what we're going to try to do is ground ourselves outside of that feeling. So close your eyes. And what I want you to do is keep your neck and back straight, sit up very straight. And what I want you to do is feel the weight of your body. And imagine that your spine and neck are like a pillar. And the weight of your body is hanging on that pillar.
Hanging on a pillar.
Yeah, so just feel your shoulders, right? And you may be holding them up a little bit, so relax your shoulders. Relax your hands. Right? As long as that spine is there, you don't actually have to carry your body. You can let your body down. So as you tune into your body, you may notice sort of the pull of your shoulders on your body. You may notice the weight of your hands. Feel the weight of your legs kind of being supported by the ground. Let them be supported by the ground. You don't have to hold them up. But keep your spine very straight. And anytime you have an emotion that you deal with a behavior, with a comment, by making a joke, right? You move away from that emotion through those things. And what I want you to do now is move away from those emotions with your body. So tune in to the weight of it. And so even if you're with a friend at a coffee shop or something like that, if you start to feel uncomfortable, feel your weight in the chair. Whatever feelings arise, let them come. Tears can come, it's totally fine. There's just a lot there, right? And you're doing a fantastic job. We're just going to sit with it. Straight. Keep your spine straight, straight, straight. Good. And let the feelings come. Now you may be noticing a desire to open your eyes to look at my face to see how I'm reacting to you. What is everyone thinking? Is this okay? Is this not okay? Like notice that, like see that desire of your mind and return to the weight of your spine. We're going to just tolerate that feeling. You're always checking with the outside world. Don't need to. The weight, let your spine remain straight. Focus on your shoulders, the weight of your body going into the ground. And the more you tune into that, notice that these are just feelings. Right? Look at what is this in your body. It's not a reality. A thought, a fear, it's just like it's not real. What is real is the weight of your body in the chair. They're going to come, they're going to swirl, they're going to go. They'll try to pull you along with them, but we're going to stay anchored. Back straight, spine straight, neck straight. And now we're going to let go. So deep breath in. I want you to expand your abdomen as you breathe in. And breathe out that emotion. Breathe big, big, deep breath through your nose, into your chest, down into your abdomen, all the way to the tip of your belly button. And now breathe out that heat, that tension, that anxiety, that fear, and even your desires. And one last breath. Now we're going to let our desires and our attachments, our hopes, our fears, our worries, we're going to let it all out. And now just be.
I am.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Seriously, thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing.
You do an amazing thing.
Thank you.
I'm just really happy to be a part of it.
Well, I'm thrilled that you're a part of it too, because I can't do this on my own. We need your help. That's what this is, right? Conversation. It takes two to tango, two to play chess. So thank you so much, Emily.
Don't be scared ever to.
Hmm?
I'm sure you have a therapist of your own, but in case you don't.
Yeah. And, we'll follow up with you about some resources and additional information to help maybe get you in the right place, okay?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Emily. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. That was fun. Wonderful person. Challenging, right? So like the things that we struggle with, let me try to switch those on a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, it's intense. So I think sometimes we underestimate how intense conversation can be. And like really exploring yourself, it seems like an amazing person. I think, it's interesting to talk to someone who is so insightful and so knowledgeable. And so it's challenging because I think this is why we emphasize understanding, because people think that like they're looking for the solution, right? Like, what should I do? How do I fix this? Well, like 90% of it is like honestly on the inside. And that doesn't mean that that makes it imply that it's easy. Actually, those are the hardest things to fix, right? Like, getting upset and throwing a dish across the room and shatter it, like, it breaks into 10 pieces. Super gluing that dish, if you really want to, takes like less than 5 minutes, right? Getting yourself to not throw the dish is a lot harder. And so we go through our lives fixing the destruction that we create right and left, right? Like we try to fix this, fix that. And the reason we look to the outside to fix things is because that's easier. So if I, break up with a partner and they say that I have a drinking problem, let's say, it's easier to find someone else who is okay with my drinking than it is to fix my drinking. Always easier to fix what's on the outside. We saw this with Emily. Poor Emily, dude. Her mom, all these problems in here, and who gets the brunt of that? Emily does. She's the one that has to be fixed as a result. And that's how we do things, right? So looking on the inside is more difficult. It's hard to tolerate those emotions, right? It's hard to like risk, like, but what if I'm really worthless on the inside? Because if I feel worthless on the inside, it's even harder to share. Can you imagine how much courage that takes to be authentic with people when you're afraid that what's on here isn't worth looking at? Like, right? It's like the equivalent of getting naked if you think you're ugly. That's what we're doing with people when we feel like we're broken and we have shame. It's like, why would this person want to know me? And it's so much easier because I can give them money. I can do this. I can be a friend for them. I can help them out. I can do good in the world. And then sort of our altruism, our charity gets tangled up with our internal psychological vulnerabilities. And that's when things get really out of control. Sometimes the people that I worry the most about are the ones who adopt noble causes, because their noble cause, I'm not saying that this applies to our guest, by the way, now I'm just generalizing, but they use their noble cause as an excuse to avoid personal growth and reflection. I'm a good person because I do this, right? I'm a good person because I shop organic. Therefore, I don't have to be nice to humans on a fundamental level because I'm doing good in the world. So for those of y'all that are struggling to take off your mask, for those of you that find yourself repeating the same things over and over and over again in terms of relationships. I don't know how to get out of this. And our guest today used fantastic language. When your relationships tend to devolve into a pattern, right? You kind of like lose control, and before you know it, you go from A to Z. This is a fantastic interview for this, right? Because we can understand like where this comes from, because it doesn't just end up that way. You have a hand in it. The problem is that we're so blind to the role that we play in our relationships. And that sort of makes sense because the eyes can look on the outside. It's very easy to see the other person in the relationship. It's very easy to hear the other person in the relationship, right? Hard to see yourself. You can't look at yourself. You can't hear yourself. So it's very hard. So hopefully this has helped people who are in similar situations. And good luck with stuff, y'all. Who are we rating, by the way? By the way, I wanted to just say thank you all very much for being so kind, actually. So, like, I think this is definitely one of the guests that we could have on stream that could trigger toxicity within our community, within our environment. And that's, you know, it's really fantastic. I was very happy to see how chat was responding. So thank you all very much for, you know, being entertaining, but also like being compassionate and really being here to learn. So that was, seriously, it's not to be underestimated. Follow Grubby. You guys want to, is that Grubby, the War 3 player? Yeah. What is he? He's playing War 3? What is this? What on earth? His League? What is he playing? Storm League. Okay. All right, we can raid Grubby. Big fan of Grubby's old orc days. Yeah, she was fantastic. So send some love Grubby's way. I don't know what he's playing, but it looks kind of like a MOBA. It looks like a MOBA. So we'll see. Anyway, we'll see y'all hopefully on Friday. Take care.